Hi there. So, a couple of people had questions about the homework problems. So, I wanted to go over some tips with the chocolate bar problems. They can be a little tricky, particularly the last few. So, let me go ahead and do that for you. So, what I've got pulled up here is 8.2, number 7, 8.2 learning exercises, number 7. And the first, I would say, three of them, I'm not going to address because I want to say that these first three, A, B, and C, are similar to what we've done with other ratios, right? So you're going to take out the 4/5, you're going to identify what each piece is, and then build the fraction bar. There's some like that in your guided practice. Same thing with part B. 4/5 represents Cameron and the bar, and then Emily ate 3 times as much as Fran ate. So you're going to turn 3 into a fraction and roll with that one. But D, E, and F are a little bit different, so I want to give you a couple of tips on how to address those. So if we take a look at D, in part D, you have a 1/2, right from here. And that represents Gay compared to Haley. And then, but 3 times as much as Ida. And the comma here, be careful because the grammar can be a little tricky on this one. When you see the comma there, it's comparing the first person to the last person. So when we have 3, which is right here, we're going to write that down as 3/1. And that's comparing Gay to Ida. Okay. Now, one thing that can make this significantly easier, okay, is that we can adjust our ratio. So we have two options here. We can try to do this all with picture, right? Or we could say, all right, hold on a second. Let's see if we can get our ratios to match. Because what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing that Gay is in this ratio and Gay is in this ratio. And in one ratio, he has the value 1, and in the other ratio, he has the value 3. And if I'm going to make a picture, I can only give Gay one number of boxes. So what I think I want to do is I want to make those the same number. So I want to choose a number that's a multiple of those two things. So the least common multiple here. So I'm working with 3 and 1. And so the least common multiple for 3 and 1 would be 3, just like if you're getting a common denominator. Okay, so that's going to be Gay in each of the ratios. And then I need to make sure that my ratios are equivalent. So to go from here to here, my 3 didn't change. So that means my denominator is not going to change. Okay. But over here, when we go from the Gay and Haley fraction of 1/2 down to a 3 in the numerator, we've got to go ahead and make this an equal fraction. So if to go from 1 to 3, I multiplied here by 3. So I must also multiply the denominator by 3. And that's going to make this a 6 on the bottom for Haley. Okay. And that means that in my chocolate bar, Ida is going to get 1 piece, right? Because she has 1. Gay now has 3 pieces in both fractions. And Haley has 6. And now I know how many pieces each person has, and I can build my bar back together by putting them all back together. Okay, and then I can find the fraction of the bar each person ate by seeing how many they ate versus how many were in the total bar. Okay, so that's a little bit of a tip for letter D. E and F are going to be similar here because of the way it's worded. When I look at E and F, you get something, a portion of the bar, and then you have 2 people whose ratio is comparing the 2 people's quantities in both of these. So I'm going to go through E for you, and I'm going to let you try F. So in E, I'm going to go to the side here. So for E, you have the fraction 2/3 right there at the front, and that is Judy to the bar, okay? And in the past, when I made chocolate bars, I kind of made it a thin, long box. And this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a big, wide box, just like we've done before, okay? And then I'm going to divide it. So in this case, in order to get this ratio involved, the bottom represents the bar, which is my whole rectangle. And then that says it has 3 pieces. So I'm going to cut this into 3 pieces. Kind of like we did with our double sorts, right? When you cut the bottom number into those number of pieces. And then I'm going to go ahead and shade Judy's section. So this is Judy's. Okay. Now, that takes care of the first ratio. The second ratio here, it says that Keisha ate twice as much as Lanny. So when the number here is twice, so that's 2 to 1, right? 2 over 1. And that's Keisha to Lonnie. So Keisha on top, Lonnie on the bottom, okay? And so that means that in the section that's left, the white section that's not shaded, I need to have two pieces for Keisha and one piece for Lonnie. And so that's a total of 3 pieces. And so I need to cut that last section, that white section, into 3 pieces. So just like we did with double sort, I'm going to go ahead and cut it horizontally into 3 rows. And then I'm going to give Keisha 2 and Lonnie 1. Okay. And now you can see that Judy still has 2/3 of the bar because she has 6 squares out of 9 squares. And Keisha has 2 out of 9. She has 2 boxes out of the total 9. And Lonnie has 1 out of 9. So by cutting it in different directions, it allows me to sort out each piece of the bar. F is going to be similar, right? You're talking about 1/4 of the bar for Mick and Nick. So you're going to divide into 4, assign 1 each to Mick and 1 to Nick. And then you're going to cut in the other direction for Ollie and Pete. Okay, so see if you can tackle that one. The other number 7, I believe, is this one. And these are going to be just as similar. So in 7A is going to be just like the ones that you did, like the first few in the other number 7. And then with B is going to be very similar to the Gay and Ida problem. So if we take a quick look at that one, you've got 3/4, and that is Vicky to Willie. And then the word who refers to what's right before it. So who is the Willie? So half from here is Willie to Xavier, right? So this is B. And now that same idea where Gay was in 2 different fractions and had 2 different values happens here with Willie. And so what you want to do is you want to change these fractions so that you have compatible values. So I have Vicky and Willie, and I have Willie and Xavier. And if I'm looking that Willie has 4 and 1, the common multiple here is going to be 4. Both of those numbers go into 4. So I'm going to put 4 for Willie in both places. And again, that fraction on the left, this one, that 4 didn't change. It was the same one from above. So I don't have to change the numerator either. But on the right-hand side, my 1 went to a 4. So to go from here to here, I'm multiplying that 1 times a 4 to get my new 4. So I have to do that on the bottom as well. And that gives me 4/8, which we know reduces to 1/2. And now I can see exactly how many pieces each person gets. Vicky gets 3, Willie gets 4, and Xavier gets 8. Okay. When you take a look at letter C, you're going to do something similar with the big box. So you're going to start out with 1 big bar, and the 1/3 is Yolanda to the bar. So you're going to cut into 3s, right? And this is Yolanda. Okay. Now 3/4 is Zeb compared to what Yolanda left. Okay, right now, you have 2 boxes there, and you need 4. So if you want to be consistent and you want to just cut this into 4 horizontally, that's totally fine. You could just go 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 3 out of every 4. So that means that Xavier gets this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. Remember, just like double sorts, it's the 3 rows out of the 4 rows. And then Arnie ate the rest. So your picture would look something like this, right? And then these are your Yolandas. Okay, so try that with those and see how you do.